people understand what's going on for them specifically, and if that is something that they can do something about, because a lot of women don't know about their cycles or don't have a really good grasp on it. They don't know about the body effects of their cycles. And as a knock-on effect, sleep is the first thing to go. So please put your hand up or unmute. If you unmute, I'll be watching, so I'll see what's going on. I like questions. I like you to talk with me. I don't really want to speak at you as much as possible. So it would be a really good kickoff just to start, and it's just hands. Hi, Tara, it's nice to see you. If you could just show hands if you know that you've had anxiety either now or in the past. Oh, good hands, Bronwyn. Right, okay. So everybody has an idea, a concept of what anxiety is. So most of us really realise that, so anxiety is worrying about the future. Depression is kind of a right here and past hormone displacement, but anxiety isn't as much about hormones as, well, it is about hormones, but it's about acute stuff. So that you're running around in your head and you can't turn it off. Depression is kind of a low mood. So it's a consistent, constant, something that's more chronic. So we'll be speaking not today about depression, because depression and low mood are a little bit, you don't want to be flippant about it. It's a little bit more of a something that you actually need to seek treatment about, and going to talk therapy. Talk therapy, I'm going to be a huge proponent of talk therapy while you're here anyway. So if you need direction on how to get somebody to talk to, let me know, and I can point you into a really good platform that can help. Right, so anxiety is when your cortisol levels get spiked. Whether they're spiked for a minute, whether they're spiked for an hour, it's about this level of cortisol. It's not, as depression is serotonin, it's about cortisol, and it affects your adrenaline and it affects your energy as a knock-on effect. So anxiety can come out in different forms for different people at different times, and it can change. So things that, how about I throw it out to the room? Does anybody know how their anxiety can manifest, or know how it does manifest? Anyone? Right, Jodie, you're first.
I get panic attacks.
Panic attacks.
And I also get this metallic taste in my mouth and a burning sensation on the tongue.
Okay.
That's the main things, yeah.
Okay, they're really clear and specific. They're really clear and specific signs. Okay, Louise, what were yours?
Trouble sleeping, because I keep thinking about, I'll worry about what will happen in the future.
Okay.
It could be various things, not necessarily to do with work, but yeah.
Does everybody have a bit of an understanding how anxiety affects your sleep? Everybody get that?
The list making in the middle of the night where you wake up. And churning stomach as well is my other
churning stomach thing. There's a wonderful word, I don't know if you know it, called Borborygmus. It's one of my favorite words in the whole entire world. It means a rumbling stomach, and it's one of the things as an acupuncturist, when you're trying to treat somebody, you want a rumbling tummy, because if you've not got a rumbling tummy, your tummy is tight. So
can you spell it?
No. Borborygmus. Good Lord. Hold on, I will get Google for you. Borborygmus, B-A-U. Yeah, I've never been asked that.
Sorry, it was just such a funny word.
Borborygmus. Hold on.
Becks, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to shoot you off at a tangent. It was just a silly comment.
No, it's a great comment that you've well and truly got me. B-O-R-Y-G-M-U-S. B-O-R-B-O-R-Y-G-M-U-S. So it means rumbling tummy. So when you're really hungry, for instance, you get Borborygmus. I would have spelled it like bauble, B-A-U. I'm not a speller. One of the things to lower anxiety is to allow like movement through your stomach. And so that's a really good example. Was that you, Bronwyn? That was you?
Churning, churning stomach as well. Yeah.
Churning stomach, yeah. So churning stomach is like that, and then instead of that. Borborygmus is this. Okay, anybody else? Yep, Margaret?
I have a tendency to catastrophize and just go really negative.
Oh, that's a good one.
And just go down the rabbit hole.
Okay, that's a really good one, and one that people don't recognize that they generally have, but one that most people do. So you need to actually, we'll talk about that one. I'll put a note on my diary to talk about that one on my notes. Okay, I spelt that one wrong too. All right, so some of the things that anxiety can do is the panic attacks. It's increased heart rate, so you can get warm. So I'll be a little bit anxious today because I'm talking, so I'll get a little bit warm. Happens when you have a hot flush. A hot flush is basically increased heart rate due to a cortisol spike, makes you hot, then you sweat to try and rebalance your body, and then you'll calm down again. Anybody know somebody that tightens their jaw? Teeth, right? Okay, teeth clenching. Anxiety. So that is
bruxism.
Yes, that's exactly the word. There's somebody actually that's doing a startup for bruxism to do something in their mouth to try and help alleviate, because it's actually these jaw muscles here. And these jaw muscles, when they're really tight, they create headaches. So has anybody noticed that they get increased headaches when they're feeling a little bit anxious? Yeah, so headaches can come from a variety of reasons, and if they're consistent, constant, you need to look at it. But tight muscles are can be related to anxiety. Anything that is to do with this. So anxiety makes you fight or flight. So
I was clenching my feet, my massage therapist told me. She said, you're clenching your feet. So all the sides of my legs were. And I was like, what? And she said, oh, lots of people do that.
Yeah, it's the old wives' tale is that you don't feel like you've got your feet on the ground, so you're kind of hold on to it to give yourself grounding. So that's again teeth. It's anything to do with tightening your muscles, because that's what cortisol does. Increases the adrenaline in the body, decreases the body's parasympathetic functions, and makes you fight or flight. So you don't digest properly. You get a IBS. Anybody know anybody with IBS or a sensitive stomach that has increased as they've aged? Anxiety. So you get more food sensitivities as you age if you're consistently feeling anxious. So some of the other things that you might get, I wrote down quite a lot of them. Rapid breathing, so that will go into the panic attacks. Gastrointestinal troubles, worry about now or the future, having trouble sleeping, difficulty controlling your worry, urge to avoid things. So a lot of the procrastination stuff. Eczema. Anybody got eczema or know somebody with eczema? A lot of eczema can do with the food that you eat, and the food that you eat can be affected by your anxiety. So you don't digest properly if you're anxious. So there's this heat knock on. Things knock on to each other and they build. So for instance, food's a really interesting one. I used to be able to eat any kind of milk product known to man, probably 3 meals, 5 meals a day, whenever snacks would be some kind of milk related thing. And now I can't eat it at all. There was a trigger for me, which was the death of my dad. So it was a pretty big one, but I stopped being able to digest anything. That's fine, Bronwyn. Oh, okay. Good for you. Good idea. Get your teeth looked at. So for me, it was a known trigger. Like I knew what was going on. The thing with a lot of these anxious symptoms is that it's a build. So mine was like, bang, no longer tolerate milk products. But now I can't tolerate wheat. So that is just, one of the things, well, I can now. I worked on mine. I can now tolerate wheat in a way that I couldn't before because I've had to work through it. But it's about understanding how these symptoms can come and how to work with them. So All right, so one of the things that I'd like to do, just for 2 seconds, put your feet on the floor. Like actually, like Bronwyn, whether you can or not, this would be a good one for you with your feet, but just put your feet on the floor as flat as you possibly can and just feel your feet. Can you feel like all of your different toes? Can you feel the outside side of your feet and your heel on the ground? Whether you're in shoes or not, just see if you can get there. Hi, Funto. See if you can just get there and feel your feet as clear as you possibly can. Close your eyes, take a breath in and out, and just feel your feet. Try and remember the last time you remembered actually feeling your feet. And come back. You can open your eyes. That's mindfulness. That is just 2 seconds. You've not had to do any special breathing techniques. You've just changed your awareness for a second. Now, this is the key to trying to begin to understand anxiousness and begin to try and work with your body to help your body out. So if you think of anxiety as a spinning wheel, what you're trying to do is slow that wheel down. Every time you get a notification on your phone, wheel goes faster. Oh shit, what's happened? Somebody died. And then you go back down again. So what you need to do is get that wheel. Sorry, I just tried to do it backwards. Get that wheel and imagine that wheel slowing down. So if you see it slowing down, it just cuts the cycle of worry, because worry is like a spinning plate. It's a circle. It just can't stop itself. Have you ever been in a cab and they're driving really fast and you ask the cab driver a question and they put their foot off the brake and kind of go, sorry, what did you say? Have you seen that? It's kind of something I've done. You've never been driving with anybody that they're driving really, really fast and they're concentrating really fast on the car, and you say to them, oh, what did you do this weekend? Or did you remember to call Joanne, whoever? And they take their foot off for a second to be able to concentrate on what you've just said. What that does is it breaks the cycle of concentration. And what happens with anxiety is you get in this concentration loop. You can't let go. You do the lists. You do you unknowingly have teeth clenching. You heat your body up. All of these things, you can't let go. Somebody says something that you don't like, or, they don't like my hair. And I'm like, ugh, how dare they? How very dare they? You get into this loop where you can't break it. So what mindfulness does, and mindfulness is free and easy to anybody to access. You can get it for absolute free, or you can pay for an app, or you can just go outside and do a walk. What it does is it breaks your current train of thought. It calms stuff down. All you need to do is be super aware of your environment for a moment, and then your head goes off and you just go, oh, actually, let's just come back down. You can do it looking into a fire. You can do it watching ants walk along the ground. That was the way that I was initially taught. It's just taking a moment just to be here for a second. Okay, so when you're looking at sleep is the culmination of your day brought into the night. So if, for instance, you have a very busy day and you don't calm down before the end of the night, your mind hasn't had the time to process stuff. Without the process, you will wake up in the middle of the night. You'll have lists, you'll have worries. One of the things for lists specifically, Bronwyn, before you hop off the call, notebook by your bed, write all of your lists down, get everything out, do 3 pages, exactly 3 pages, no more, no less, of everything that's happened in your day, everything that you can think of, what you need to do tomorrow, everything. 3 pages, and then 5 things that you're really grateful for, because what that does is take you out of negative headspace into I'm grateful for. Be specific, be different every single day, and always end with 5 points. So what that does is it helps the body to wind down before bed, get it all out. It's free to do. It's absolutely, which is why you don't see it anywhere, because you can't charge money for it. So get yourself a cheap notebook and a pen, or it's better when you write it than if you type it. It doesn't matter if it's chicken scrawl. It is better to get it out of your brain to write. There's research on it, but I don't remember what the research is, but it comes out better handwritten and then by typing. But either way, get it out and then finish with 5 things. Now, the 5 things for being grateful ends your day with the positive stuff. So that stops the, oh, they didn't do that, or the dishwasher's still unpacked, or I can't believe the kids did this, or my husband, blah, blah, blah. You know, you can imagine all the different things you take to bed, your boss, your work, your kids and family, your parents, everything comes to bed with you. So getting it out and finding things usually about specifically those people that have been on your mind in an angry way, actually try and find some good in them. If you can't find some good in them, you're not looking hard enough, because everybody's got it. But what that does is it changes the neural pathway into a more positive way, which calms your brain down. Calming your brain down will help you sleep better. It doesn't stop you waking in the night, but it does calm the kind of sleep that you've got. What was that one? Can't sleep right now. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a million books. There's some really good books on sleep where Matthew Walker, Google's ex-sleep coach, wrote Why We Sleep, which is around clearing out the sort of detritus of the day almost, so that you can take it from short-term memory to long-term memory without having a deep, refreshing sleep, which a lot of us don't get these days. You can find that your memory, you start to struggle with some of your short-term memory. Memory loss can be an anxiety thing. So brain fog, where you just can't think of that word, like you know the word, but like Borborygmus. There's so many times where I'd have to go, you know, that rumbly tummy, blah, 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 and find my way to Borborygmus. You've got to allow yourself at least an hour, if not 2, at the end of the day to not look at your screens, which is really hard. If you're having trouble with sleep, screens is usually the issue because of the blue light that comes towards you. You need, there's those orange lights that you can get for nighttime if you insist on watching TV. But you've got to try and think about the kinds of things that you're doing towards going to bed. So it's like a preparation thing. If you've had a mental day, so like Katie's day was last night, that you got home really late and, you know, you then try and go to sleep, it's almost impossible to go to sleep because you've not been able to wind down. And so there's no reason why your normal day would be any different. If you're watching TV shows or playing games that increase your adrenaline, so what is in one of those new shows, Witcher, like your adrenaline goes up. Oh, what's going to happen next? Oh, who's that guy? That kind of stuff gives you a spike of adrenaline. Now, it takes a good couple of hours for that to come down, for you to be able to calm down. So looking at your pre-sleep practice, tired but wired, tired but right. I mean, who understands tired but wired? Tired but wired is the same concept. It is no time to be able to wind down specifically to go to bed. So you go to bed rushing through your day, you watch telly, or you try and get your kids to bed and you have dinner and it's all go. And the first time you properly sit down without stimulation is when you're in bed. So your brain then has to work through a process to try and wind itself down. Tired but wired means that your brain's going at 100 miles an hour. So writing down the 3 pages, even if you're really tired, writing those 3 pages, ending with 5 grateful things that you're really grateful for, being specific, changing it daily. Like, it's not like, one of the things that would be, I'm really grateful for the guy that I work with because he's not a jerk. Like, it's not specific enough. I'm grateful that he stood up for me today when somebody disparaged me in front of him. He stood up for me. So that's a very specific example that says, today this event occurred. Now, it can be with the milkman anybody that you've had an interaction with. It can be an event. It can be that I'm really pleased with myself that I turned up to an event today. Like I've turned up, I'm talking with you about all sorts of things. I'm really pleased that I've done that today. That will be my grateful thing, because I really like speaking with women and connecting with them and trying to help. So it's when you're tired but wired, what it is your brain cannot slow itself down specifically to help you get into sleep. When your brain is not ready to go to sleep, your whole body can be tired, your eyes can be dry, you're really kind of, dragging your ass along. It is so important to stop. So you can do some mindfulness, which allows the whirl in your head to slow down. It doesn't stop it. Don't think ever that you clear your mind. No such thing. You clear your mind for like maybe half a second and then something else comes in. But you have to acknowledge, okay, see you, Louise. It's lovely to meet you. Take care. You have to sort of acknowledge what's going on for yourself, okay? So if your mind keeps going somewhere, say hello, and my technique for mindfulness is hello, mind. Oh, okay, all right, thanks for that. And then come back to the present moment. So your mind will constantly do that. What the beauty of mindfulness is if you constantly come back to the present, be it that you're looking at the fire or, like whatever it is, it just slows your mind down. It doesn't stop it, but it clarifies it a little, and you learn to separate thoughts from actual facts, because sometimes the person that you think is an asshole actually just has something going on for them, and you might not have thought about them. So this gives you an opportunity to maybe reframe a conversation or some work situation, but you're looking at really trying to just slow things down. So is that helpful? Do you understand like where in that sleep cycle you might be having a bit of a trick that you might be able to use towards helping you get ready for sleep? Nodding. Okay. All right. So going to sleep is one thing. Waking in the night is something completely different, but exactly the same thing. Okay. So what happens when you wake in the night? So there's a couple of things that will wake you in the night. Your desire to pee. Anybody had a desire to pee in the middle of the night? So if you have gone to the toilet before going to bed and you have a desire to pee in the middle of the night, there's two things that can be going on and two things that can be helped. Anxiety is the first one. Anxiety will wake you up when you're in your light cycle of sleep. That wakes you up, and that one's the one where you can't go back to sleep. If it's up to pee, then you need to look at your pelvic floors, because your pelvic floor action should be able to get you through the night. So if you don't have a good pelvic floor and are not doing your pelvic floor muscles, which happens to women as they age because their muscles get a little bit looser, women that have birthed because the impact on the body, you can do some exercises that are very fast and easy to do that will help you towards improving those pelvic floors to get you through the night. Now, the difference between the wake up with anxiety and the wake up for a pee, you will go back to sleep with a pee because you're in the middle of the night, you just need to pee, and then you'll come back. What a lot of people do, they go for a pee and then go, oh my God, I needed to pee. Oh my God, do I still need to pee? That's anxiety. But if you get up to go to a pee and it's not a really massive pee, then that is anxiety, okay? Pelvic floor stuff, the new research on pelvic floors is that you need to imagine that you're holding in a fart, for want of the nicest way of saying it. The pull of the muscles for women and men, actually, Mark, you fit into that too. The pull when you're holding in a fart, so imagine you're in a meeting and you've got to hold it in, that action consistently and then releasing the fart, so imagining just letting go, that is the new way for improving your pelvic floors. But go and talk to what are they called? Physiologist or somebody that does physio. and a women's health physio can actually put their fingers in and test your pelvic floors and then help you specifically if you've got a proper problem with it. So if you wake up in the middle of the night, I would, so there's a few tricks to trying to get back to sleep. You can listen to something. So depending on if your partner wakes up or if you've got, if they're sensitive or not, you can maybe listen to something either in your earbuds or out loud. Listening to something inane. So again, nothing that will bump your cortisol levels up. So Radio 4 in the middle of the night, or I just put on mindfulness stuff. So luckily I'm on Clarity. I made my husband do the sleep stuff so that I can listen to him. So he's got a lovely voice, so I don't have to listen to myself. But you can listen to a YouTube, but you've got to put your phone on a sleep cycle. So however long you want to listen to it for, just make sure your phone turns off so that you don't get the ads and things to wake you back up again. Listening to an app is a little bit easier because it will turn itself off. Listening to something is one thing. If your brain is racing and you've got the lists in the middle of the night, if you haven't done your writing in the middle of the night, that's the time to get your writing down. Okay, so because a lot of really good ideas happen around, they usually say between 11 and 1 is the time to make decisions. Between 1 and 3 is your ideas. So if you're calm enough to allow your ideas in, you can get some really good ideas. Write them down. Say that again.
What were the times?
So between 11 and 1, that's the strongest time for the gallbladder, which is your best decision maker, which is why they say sleep on it. So you can sleep and make good decisions. So that's why you should take your time with decisions and sleep on it between 11 and 1. So that's working with your circadian. Yes. So that's so the worst decisions are between 11 and 1 during the day, because that's the lowest time of your gallbladder. So it's working within a Chinese clock, working with your circadian rhythm. Funnily enough, the West call it a circadian rhythm and are now finding more and more things that tie exactly into the Chinese clock. So
Becks, Jodie's asking those questions, by the way. I think Jodie, you're up most nights with the twins currently.
Actually,
twins.
I don't want to say it, but they're sleeping really well.
Okay, don't jinx it. Okay, so kids is another thing entirely. Okay, so let's talk. Is there many people that have kids in here? Show of hands. We've got a couple of kids. Oh, okay. Okay. So there's not much you can do when a kid comes in, other than the obvious sleep training. But you being calm will calm the kid. The biggest problem that you have with children is you go, which spikes your adrenaline, which then makes it hard to come back down again. So I know that kids are not, they don't work to anybody's schedule. They work to their own, which we all do, but somehow we think that we should be able to control them. But trying to make sure that everybody is calm, that no lights are on, that you do your sleep protocols, the normal kid sleep protocols. Try and keep your calmness with you and think lovely thoughts. That way you might be able to get back to sleep better, but it is really, really tough. My trick with kids, if you've got kids, is find 2 times of 10 minutes during a day, even hand the kids over to your partner or, when they're sleeping, 10 minutes twice a day to do proper mindfulness, actually sleep. What you'll find, and that's like a morning and afternoon, what you'll find with that is like a micro sleep. You will actually feel a lot better. It's only 10 minutes. Everybody can find 10 minutes if they want to prioritize their own health, which we never do, but if you can. So 10 minutes will actually help you feel much better. If you've got yourself out of a sleep cycle and you're really struggling to sleep, those 10 minutes twice a day, it's not just before you go to bed, just twice a day can actually help regulate your sleep at night, because you're cutting that cycle, that spinning plate, you're cutting it twice in the day. So your cortisol levels drop and drop and drop. Okay. If you've got 10 minutes when you wake up in the morning to do mindfulness, your cortisol levels peak twice in the day, and the first one is when you wake. It's more or less around 8 o'clock, I think it is. It starts to rise. If you can crack it before then or around that time and do just 10 minutes of mindfulness around that time, what you'll find is your whole body calms down and sets you up for a better day. Okay. And then in the afternoon around 2, 3 o'clock, when we all get really tired, finding 10 minutes at that point in the day will also help you with that tiredness. You'll be able to concentrate better. But all that is that processor in your head is trying to, technically you're diverting all of your energy to your food digestion. So if you have no extra energy, it comes out of your head and goes to your belly to try and digest. So lighten the kind of food that you eat, make it a smaller portion, and or do some mindfulness to try and help you rebalance. Does that make sense? Is that what anybody does? Has anybody tried anything like this?
If I try and do a 10-minute nap at about 2:30, I invariably just want to go to sleep.
Yeah, nap, it's not a nap.
No, but then if I'm lying down or doing mindfulness, I become, I just then want to go to sleep.
Yeah, so you've got to sit up, you've not to sleep, and try and do it a little bit before you get to the point where you're really ready to nap. Maybe that might help, but do not lie down. The lying down is a killer, and you'll end up having a sleep for like 40 minutes. So mindfulness needs to be done sitting up. Even if you're in bed, mindfulness needs to be done sitting up. If you're having a nap, and I'm all for naps, I'm a lover of naps. If you're having a nap, have a nap. Okay, you can have somebody talk to you or some nice music or whatever, but mindfulness is mindfulness and a nap is a nap. Don't get them confused. If you're sitting for 10 minutes and you cannot stop from having a sleep, then you need to start looking at the food that you're eating, how many coffees that you're having, because coffee can put your adrenaline sort of up and then knock it down. Your heart rate can go up and then knock it down. If you're anemic, if you've got iron issues, that can make you extremely tired. Or if you're just not being kind to yourself, if you're just running and not stopping. But for mindfulness, sit up. You can keep your eyes open if you're worried about falling asleep and just stare at something. So this crazy thing here actually was a creation from, we sold our flat to an artist, and he contacted us and said, do you mind if I create you a piece of art for your new house? This is the craziest thing I've ever come across. It's got all sorts of things in here. It came with a really long blurb about how much he loves the house and all the different things that came into it. Sitting and looking at that, setting a timer for 10 minutes and just looking at that thing and seeing what shapes I can find, what colors I like. Sometimes I like things, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I see. So at the moment from here, I can see like a meditating guru with some kind of funky thing some kind of diamond thing in the front of his head. Sometimes I can't see that at all. But sitting for 10 minutes without stimulation, turn everything off. That is mindfulness. Just let it all go, come back, let it go, come back, let it go, come back. If you close your eyes and you're worried about sleep, that's how you get around it. Don't close your eyes. It's or don't close, just close them as a blink. But it's really important. There's a very big difference between needing to sleep and doing mindfulness. So if you can build a nap in. 20 minutes is the optimum nap time in the afternoon, no more than 20 minutes. Because that will affect your sleep at night. But if your sleep is affected because of babies, you can go for 45 minutes. I know, but who's got 45 minutes? So just take it as you can. So with sleep, first and foremost, you need to be kind to yourself. You need to prioritize your own self-care. I know that it's a word that's bandied around, but honestly, women do things for other people before they do anything for themselves, and then they fall into bed and then kind of go, why can't I sleep? Slowing down, limiting sugar, limiting alcohol before going to bed for at least 2 hours. So alcohol's a really funny thing because you think you sleep because it smacks the noises out of your head. But what it does is it doesn't put you into a sort of an REM sleep where all the good stuff happens. It will make you feel low mood, or increasingly so, depending on how much you drink. It will affect your inflammation. So alcohol has sugar in it. Sugar creates inflammation. So if you think of somebody that's morbidly obese, that usually a lot of that is a fat via inflammation. So they get it thickens their throat. When you drink, you get sinusy. You get a thickness in your vessels. They all sort of constrict. So you can't breathe as well. If you can't breathe, even if you snort or if you're taking a lot of alcohol, it limits how much breath you can have. A lighter breath means that you don't get a more restful sleep. So a good deep belly breath, helping you get off to sleep without alcohol and without sugar, it can help you significantly in trying to get to sleep. You can get prescription pills for sleeping. Again, they kind of just knock you out. They're not going to give you a refreshing sleep, but sometimes you need to be knocked out. So there's times where you do it. What you need to do is just use the pills for a short period of time to rebalance yourself, and then get all your sleep protocols in place so you can come off the pills. The pills aren't going to help you think. They're not going to help you have more energy in the day. They're not going to be able to help your body with the short-term memory that clearing out that I was telling you before, but they can be very, very good for a Band-Aid just to get you rectified. Anti-anxiety pills are the same. They can help you for short-term, but they shouldn't be used long-term, just purely because you've got to do the lifestyle stuff. So one of the other lifestyle stuff we haven't talked about is exercise. So who here is a weight-bearing person, specifically? Who does weight-bearing exercises? So that's lifting weights. Katie, I'm a weight, yep, Rebecca, okay, and Funto. Okay, so who does cardio? Katie, okay, so we've got some proper exercisey people. Okay, so with cardio, doing cardio in the morning, terrific. Really good to try and get the body up and started, get those endorphins for the day. If you're doing weight-bearing exercises, they're better done in the evening. So weight-bearing is slow, and weight-bearing is going to give you really good endorphins. Weight-bearing is hard to be concentrating on anything else because you're trying to lift heavy stuff. And so that gives you that wind down. So doing weight-bearing exercise, every woman that is over the age of, I would say, 30, needs to do weight-bearing exercises. It's good for osteoporosis. It's good for managing stress. It's good to give you that endorphin kick. It is good for general health and well-being for women. Although we get very frightened of weight-bearing, it is actually really good. I'm not saying become a weightlifting champion, though if you want to go do that, have at it. But it's just lifting, repetitive lifting, slow repetitive lifting of heavy weights consistently. So maybe twice, 3 times a week. Did somebody have a question on exercise? Yep, Mark, go for it.
Yeah, so Becks, I as everybody knows on the call, I play water polo, and right. I pay 9 o'clock on Wednesday nights.
Ooh. Right.
Yep, which means I don't get to sleep at all on Wednesday nights because I'm full of
endorphins and the thrill of the game.
The thrill of the game.
Yeah. That's late, mate. Like that's really late.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that's the only time we can play. I'm not going to give it up.
I don't give it up.
I can't get to sleep. Thursday morning I'm terrible.
Okay, so what I would say with that is, so what time does it finish and what time do you get home?
It finishes at 10:30, and we go down the pub.
Got it.
Have a few drinks. I get home sort of 11:30.
Yep.
I have a cup of tea.
Yep.
Some Marmite toast.
Ooh. I'm a Vegemite girl, so I'm never going to agree with
that's
that.
your
but Marmite's fine. Can you do me a favor and write your 3 pages? Just get a notebook and write your 3 pages while you're eating your Marmite and having your tea. Can you try that?
Yep. Okay.
And then do the gratefulness thing. Like, it's really important to end it, because there's nothing worse than writing 3 pages of being shitty about somebody and then trying to go to bed because you're still shitty in your bed. So write the 3 pages, and it can be just inane shit. Doesn't really matter what's in those pages. Get anything and everything down, and then the 5 grateful things, and then go to sleep. So do it while you're having your tea, because that's a productive use of your time.
Surely tea has got caffeine in it. That's a bad.
So alcohol is also not going to help. So it's kind of like if you get, neither does white toast. So if you're eating white bread, none of that's going to actually help you. White bread's also high in carbs, so it's going to lift your energy up. But the thing is, start to change. I mean, you've got to make choices. So you know that your Thursday morning is going to be stupid. So give yourself some extra time in bed on Thursday. So that you're not going to have to be performance related, but everybody's got to make their choices. And if you're not going to give that up and you want to have your Marmite toast and your cup of tea, tea's got caffeine, not as much caffeine as coffee, but be realistic with what you will and won't do. Understand that your night's going to be shitty and try and prevent as much as you possibly can is the best way. If you stress about it and go, oh, I really want alcohol and I can't have it, it's actually worse than having the alcohol. It's one of the things that with pregnancy, you shouldn't drink alcohol when you're pregnant. And it's one of those things that some women that are really used to having alcohol and are really desperate to have alcohol, actually, it increases their stress more not to have the alcohol. So if they have half a cup so that they can feel the alcohol without having an actual impact of alcohol, that is better than the stress that's created from not being able to drink. Having said that, not drinking is best. And everybody knows that you shouldn't smoke. Everybody knows that you shouldn't drink when you're pregnant. But there's got to be a level of personal responsibility taken in all of it. So the tea, can you take a cheeky sleepy tea instead of a caffeine-based tea? If you don't like that, try hot water. It's amazing. I drink hot water all day. So you can figure out what your triggers are and why you're not sleeping. So you've got a choice of whether you want to do that or not, and that's your choice alone. So does that make sense?
Yeah, no, thank you.
So it's I think a lot of these things, we just have to be realistic that our lifestyle these days is not conducive to good sleep. So we make the choices that we make to try and justify how we're sleeping. If you're not sleeping, but you understand why you're not sleeping, that becomes a choice. If you're playing games until 3 o'clock in the morning and then wanting to sleep and can't sleep, that's your choice, as long as you know that the games are affecting your sleep. Okay, so because we've only got 10 minutes, I just thought I'd talk to you about a side hustle. So with meditation, there's a lot of people that don't want to meditate for whatever reason. I totally get it. I really understand that people find it a bit weird. So what I would suggest that you do is find a side hustle. Now, I've got some rules. I'll explain to you what a side hustle is. First and foremost, a side hustle is just going to be having something interesting to learn that may or may not eventually turn into something. So it can be a hobby that ends up having some money attached. It might not, but it takes you out of what you're doing in your day to be able to learn something new. So it's like, if you're a financial planner, for instance, then learning about coding or cooking or knitting or just creating some art of some kind, learning how to do something like that is so different to your day-to-day. It helps that cycle slow down. It doesn't have to replace your salary. You just start it on the side. It could be just learning how to dance, like becoming a salsa dancer. You don't need to do it for money, but it's about having an active interest in something other than your day-to-day work. A little hard when you've got little babies, but it gets easier as your kids get older. Your side hustle is your kids when they're babies. So they're your everything. So learn sign language with the babies. One of the most fun things. Oh, you're doing that. Okay. So one of the best things Yeah. Okay.
More?
So more. So mine used to be again, and thirsty. Eating.
Oh, that's thirsty. Cereal. Milk.
Okay. So doing that kind of thing actually is fun, and fun takes down anxiety. You can't have fun and be anxious at the same time. It sort of doesn't work. So it's looking at, so kids are a bit of a side hustle, but it's about being actively interested in the moment with the child. That is the way of a side hustle. Okay. Learning sign language with babies is the most fun that you can ever do, because when they actually do it back, you feel like you're a complete success. So, yep. Rebecca, did you have a question?
Can I just ask, how long, obviously, ideally, we'd all be doing a bit of side hustling every single day, but if that's not, how many times a week do you need to do it for it to be worthwhile and have this impact?
So you start off just on the weekend, and then, but it's got to be something that captures your interest. And what happens when something captures? That's why I made clarity. My interest. I was doing some COO work that I was finding awfully stressful, and I found the CEO to be intolerable. So I decided that I would learn how to create an app. I didn't know anything about the app. And then what happens is you get really involved in it, and all of a sudden it sort of takes over your life a little bit. And then you get enjoyment. So what you've got to do is allow yourself a good half hour, start with weekends, build it up, go for a couple of times through the week. So maybe 2 to 3 times. If you're not lifting heavy weights, put yourself into, I'll show you one of the things that I've done. I don't know how to draw. I have no idea how to draw. So I got a color by numbers. And that's a color by, like, I'm nearly finished. There's something in there. So that is one of the things that I do. I have to be super present because I've got to concentrate on what the colors are and the numbers. And it's about getting out of your current sort of thought loop. Okay. So it can just be a little bit, and then it grows to be a little bit often. I'm not going to be an artist anytime soon. I'm not going to do any courses. I just do it for fun, but I do it as a stress reliever. So don't put any pressure on it. Don't put any stress on it. If it's stressing you out, stop, because that's not actually fun. If you've got a friend to do it with. So I actually, I started doing this with my mother-in-law, who's 83, who was in lockdown and couldn't go out anywhere. And she was as bored. And we had to call her every day. And it just got so laborious that I was like, okay, I'll send you, have you ever done art? I'll send you a color by numbers, and we can do that together. So we sit on the phone and on Skype and we color by numbers. So it's about trying to do it with somebody, do something that you enjoy, change your mindset a little bit, and spend a little time doing something that is joyful. Does that make sense?
I love that. That's so lovely.
I mean, my mother-in-law, she's a gem. So, and if she's all by herself, and if we have to do something together, I just got really bored with going, how's your day? You've not done anything. You've not been outside. We've just worked. Excellent. So actually we spend a couple of, so this is our second one. I've actually done you get them on Amazon. They're like, I don't know, 15 quid. I did a stag with colors on it, and you don't have to color the lines. You can choose your own colors. Like it's more about the act of bringing some joy in, and your stress levels go down. Good things come when you stop holding on. You'll find that the lights go green all of a sudden, or you notice green lights instead of all of the red ones. Okay, so as you learn to use different skills to try and lower these stress levels, your sleep will help. Your anxiety levels will be helped. You know, you're just getting into a flow of being calm, spending a moment in the flow. Do you know what in the flow is? When time can just pass without you noticing, and you've just really enjoyed something, like you've really given yourself over to it. You can't be worried about all the stuff at work if you're in the flow, because if you're in the flow, you're present. So that's part of what mindfulness is. Okay, so I've not gone over as much as I was going to do with the side hustle, but hopefully we've done a lot of the sleep stuff. Benefits of a side hustle is it lowers blood pressure, lowers anxiety. You can do something with, you can find some friends with common interests, and you can do something for the sheer joy of doing it. Doesn't need to cost you a lot. If it costs you a lot, I would say don't do it. If you need to learn how to do it, so I've got woodwork on the go. I'm using Google because I can't get into a course. YouTube is amazing, and there's always people online. So you can go and look at stuff on Instagram and Pinterest and things to have a look. Okay, so learning something new, it's hard to learn and be curious while anxious. Okay, so it just kind of brings that energy level down a little bit. And that way, doing that at the end of the day, that is the perfect time to help you go to sleep, because you're not putting your energy up, you're slowing it down, having a bit of fun, loosening your muscles, loosen your jaw a little bit, and see if you can get some sleep. Any questions? I know we've got to go, but any questions, anything else that I can help you with?
I do have a question. Sorry, I'm late.
Hi, Jennifer.
I'm a person that really enjoys exercising, so it's my stress relief and my side hustle as well.
Yep.
I'm kind of a fanatic in a sense that I was trying to do it like 5 days of a week, where I was doing like 30 minutes of like high intensity, and then I realized that you can't do it every day. What is the ideal, I guess, amount of times a week that you should be exercising?
I'm actually a big proponent of exercising daily. So I don't think it's the exercise per se, it's the type of exercise you're doing. Okay, so add in a yoga. Just add in something that the problem with high intensity means that you have to keep your energy levels up. So that's why I'm saying do it in the morning. You might have missed that. I'm not sure when you came in. Doing it in the morning means that you've got hours to calm down after it. Don't do it at night. But if you're doing it every morning, it's okay, but I would vary it a little so that you do some weight-bearing exercises and you do some yoga and stretching. Yoga and stretching is just mindfulness in another word. So thank you. Okay, it helps for husbands and children just as much. Okay, doing an activity together is stupid but fun. Laugh. If it's going to be competitive, don't do it. I can't not compete with Monopoly, so I don't play Monopoly at night. I can't. I'm a sore loser. So okay, so hopefully that helps. Jennifer, if you needed to contact me afterwards and we can chat to see if we can help you out, that's fine. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm Becks Armstrong. My CV looks insane, so don't look at it. Just find me in my picture, and just if you want to say hi, say hi. If you've got anything you want to talk about, then I always like a good coffee or coffee replacement time to have a chat.
Thank you.
Becks, thank you. That was brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you. Fitting in. Just one thought. This is our last one of our last coffee break this year. We've got Christmas coming up. Christmas anxiety.
Oh, families. Yeah. So this is the hardest time for most people because the burden of families and children. The couple of quick tips. Good question mark. Couple of quick tips. Walk away. One of the best things that you can do when a heated situation or you're highly anxious is just go for a walk. They call it nature bathing. Go and look at a tree. Go and be in nature. Feet on the ground. So that poor old Margaret, she's not here anymore. Was it Margaret that was saying that she had the tense feet? One of the best things, it's hard because Christmas here is winter, so you don't really want to go barefoot outside. But one of the best things is to actually get your feet on the ground and really concentrate on your feet on the ground, because that's that sort of a calming down of energy. The not your circus, not your monkeys. Pick your battles. So if the world is not going to change for this person that wants to do something, then let them do it. Pick your arguments. Don't overdo the alcohol, overdo the joy. If it's not bringing you joy, sack it if you can. And find you 10 minutes, that twice a day, 10 minutes to check out, just essentially cut all notifications off. If somebody's going to die within that 10 minutes, you usually have a little bit of time. So they can do without you for 10 minutes. try and do 10 minutes twice a day, you'll find that the whole world changes if you can do a little bit. You don't need to be a 3-hour meditator, though that helps, but it's choose your battles, walk away. Don't eat too many foods that are going to put you up or make you depressed, and just be careful to look after yourself and your needs. Okay, so if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Don't feel that you're obliged to do it. Just make sure that you're checking in with yourself, because sometimes your boundaries, setting your boundaries, while it might piss somebody else off, it's better for both of you to know where you stand. Okay, and don't flex. So boundaries are really hard when it comes to family, but sometimes just saying no actually works.